I'm James Turk. I'm a director of the Gold Money Foundation, and it's my pleasure to be here today with Felix Zulauf, the founder and chairman of Zulauf Asset Management in Zug, Switzerland. Felix, thank you for joining me today. I've got a number of questions that I want to ask you. I know you're one of the premier global macro thinkers in the world today, and I wanted to start with what's happening here in Europe. The debt crisis, not only in Greece, but as it seems to be spreading to others. Is the debt contagion, the sovereign debt crisis, going to continue to worsen?
I think so. The situation in Europe is similar to elsewhere, but it is compounded. The high debt is compounded by this euro situation. And the euro is a terrible construction because you have a line, a rift going between the center and the periphery. The center is basically a nation like Germany that is a saver and accumulates current account surpluses. And the periphery, those are nations of debtors, and they accumulate debt. And a debtor nation is interested in inflating its way out of debt. And a saver nation is interested to save and have a stable currency value. And therefore, the conflict between the two is of profound depth and cannot be solved in the short term. And that is a conflict that will take time and probably several years, and therefore we won't have a final solution quickly. Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, without having a final solution, be it the fiscal union or whatever, is one crisis after the other, and each crisis can bring those two parties one small step closer to each other without bringing the final solution. And usually politics is two steps behind the markets and the realistic real economy situation, and therefore there are some risks that we are going to risk our banking system, which is very fragile, very low equity capitalization, and it's a horrible situation.
A crisis, you say, can bring people together, but it can also move people apart. Isn't the crisis seem to be causing people to move apart? There seems to be friction now between different countries that probably didn't exist a few years ago.
Actually, you are right, and I said it at the hour of birth of the euro, that the euro will bring what it should prevent, namely rising nationalism. And I also said the euro has the power of dynamite, like the Versailles Treaty of 1918, in a way. It disintegrates, it is a disintegrating project and not an integrating project as the politicians try to tell us.
Yeah, you've been a Eurosceptic for quite some time. I assume you remain a Eurosceptic?
Yeah, definitely. I don't see that the European people are ready for the United States of Europe yet. Therefore, we won't have a political union. Without the political union, it will be very difficult to achieve a fiscal union, liability union. Therefore, it can be only small steps towards in that direction, but not a big step that would solve the problem. Yeah. And that means that eventually politics is moving the burden to the central bank, to the ECB. The ECB wanted to pursue and follow the philosophy of the old Bundesbank of money stability, but it will be forced and pushed into the other direction, and I fear that the ECB will eventually become like the Fed, a money printing entity like mad, and that means that they have to weaken the euro in a way that even the weaker nations can live with that currency.
Yeah, but isn't that what the ECB has become? It's become controlled by the politicians rather than being independent. You know, the fact that it bought the Greek bonds a year and a half ago and it's now got 160, 170 trillion of sovereign debt on its balance sheet, even though the EU rules say that it's not supposed to do that. Hasn't it already become a Federal Reserve, a politicized institution?
Absolutely. The ECB has been raped by the European politicians, definitely. And I think, I said at the beginning, the central bank, the ECB cannot win that battle. It will lose. The politics will win. And that means we are very close to a change in the ECB policies. They still remain tight with liquidity and too high with short-term interest rates for the crisis situation we are in.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, they try to fix this and that problem by intervening in bond markets. But actually, I think they should rather spend the money to fix the equity capital of the banking industry.